Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. The Manchester United and Liverpool game has been rearranged for Thursday the 13th of May. We were supposed to play Liverpool on the 2nd of May, but obviously it got postponed because hundreds of our fans went inside Old Trafford and invaded the pitch. They were protesting against the Glazers. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer backs fans. Solskjaer says the Glazers have apologised to him. Solskjaer also said that the violent incidents went too far, but he said the club need to listen to the fans. Recently, Avram Glazer refused to apologise over the European Super League. Sky News caught up with him in Florida. He refused to answer any questions. More protests are planned at Old Trafford. Will the Old Trafford protests force the Glazers out of the club? Now, it recently said the Glazers could be forced to sell Manchester United, but for only £4 billion. It said not so long ago as well that the Glazers have got no intentions of selling Manchester United and they're here to stay. The other week, our fans protested against the Glazers outside Carrington. Some of our fans blocked entrances into the Carrington training ground to protest against the Glazers. And obviously we've been holding banners up saying MUFC 20, 51%, we decide when you play, and Glazers out. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said quite a few weeks ago that the Glazer family will not sell Manchester United. He said before that Joe Glazer loves the club. This is what he told protesters. Earlier on this season, the Red Knights told the Glazers to sell Manchester United. Joe Glazer released a statement a few weeks ago apologising over the European Super League plans, because obviously the Glazers was planning to ditch the Champions League for this European Super League. But you can certainly understand the fans' frustration. The Glazers have put us in a lot of debt. I hate the way the football club has been run now for a long time, so we get the Glazers out of the club. It will be definitely the right decision by Man United. We need to recommend new owners in. The Glazers bought Manchester United for $500 million back in 2005. Gary Neville gave his perception on it. He says the Glazers are to blame for the protests, and he actually thought it was a peaceful protest. So, there you go. Now, a new deal for Paul Pogba is imminent. It recently said that Manchester United will offer Paul Pogba a new £400,000 a week deal. He says Paul Pogba is demanding £500,000 a week. Paul Pogba's current contract expires next year. because earlier on this season we triggered that 1 year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. Obviously Solskjaer wants Paul Pogba to stay at Manchester United. He said earlier on this season that Paul Pogba's future lies at the club. And he said our players would be devastated if the club decided to sell Paul Pogba. Now, it recently said that we will sell Paul Pogba this summer if he doesn't sign a new contract. Says we will demand around 80 million for Paul Pogba this summer. Mino Raiola has been doing a lot of talking this season. He said not so long ago that Paul Pogba wants to win trophies at Manchester United or at another top European club. He did say that Paul Pogba's future is still in doubt, and not so long ago he spoke about a Paul Pogba and Eden Hazard swap deal. Earlier on this season, Mino Raiola said he doesn't give a fuck if he doesn't take another player to Man United as long as his clients are happy. And he criticised Sir Alex Ferguson for forcing his client out of the club when he was younger. I presume all United fans disagreed with him criticising Sir Alex Ferguson. Earlier on this season, he also said, Mino Raiola, that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season, and he did make an admission saying that he's working on Pogba's transfer quietly to avoid offence, because Mino Raiola's been criticised a lot, and in general, he doesn't have a good relationship with Man United. Don't forget, back in December last year, he made an announcement regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement. But yeah, I do hope he stays potentially past the summer because we've been getting the best out of him in the last few months. He does bring creativity to the team. Disregarding Paul Pogba, we lack creativity and we are far too defensive. Recently, we've been putting him in more of an advanced role. We need to keep him in that advanced role because that's where he's more effective, but quite a lot before we've played him in that deeper role. Earlier on this season, Pogba had a thigh injury and he was out for a while. He had an ankle injury at the first part of this season and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. But Paul Pogba seems very, very happy at Manchester United. He's had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him, Barcelona have been in for him, and his former club Juventus have been in for him. And I said if he leaves Man United in the summer transfer window, there's a good chance he'll go back to Juventus because he did enjoy 4 good years with them before he rejoined Manchester United. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him, and this has been his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. He's won 3 trophies at Man United. That's the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield, if you want to put the Community Shield into the equation. We had him when he was a lot younger under Ferguson, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. Pogba gave an exclusive interview to Sky earlier on this season and he criticised Jose Mourinho. He says Jose Mourinho went against the players. He said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is different, so reflect on that. Pogba is 100% Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. Jose Mourinho hit back at Pogba's comments. He said he doesn't care less what he had to say about his reign as Manchester United manager. Obviously, the news on the transfers. There's so many players that Manchester United are looking at. You obviously know the news on Harry Kane from Tottenham. There was reports coming out yesterday saying that Manchester United are ready to sanction a 90 million transfer bid for Harry Kane. The Glazers are planning this. I don't think 90 million is going to be enough to convince Tottenham to offload him. He said not so long ago that Daniel Levy, the Tottenham chairman, will only consider offers starting at 125 million for Harry Kane. Harry Kane said earlier on this season that he wants to win team trophies after Tottenham's Carabao Cup final defeat to Man City. Kane said earlier on this season that he wants to leave Tottenham if they fail to qualify for the Champions League. He's decided though that he wants to stay in the Premier League if he decides to leave Tottenham. He said earlier on this season that PSG were looking to beat us and City to the signing of Harry Kane. Earlier on this season as well, he said that Harry Kane refused to commit his future to Tottenham. It said he's delaying his transfer decision until after the Euros. David Einstein has already spoken about Harry Kane. He said earlier on this season that he spoke to people in football. He said Harry Kane is unhappy and he wants to leave Tottenham. He said he's committed to Tottenham whilst he's there, but he wants to win the biggest trophies, and obviously he hasn't been experiencing this at Tottenham. He's won the Golden Boot a couple of times. He's been a very long servant at Tottenham. He's been with them for like 17 years. He's been in their senior squad since 2009. He's under contract with Tottenham until 2024. He's had a few loan spells before as well with Leyton Orient, Millwall, Norwich and Leicester. You know, Kane is regarded as one of the best strikers in the world because obviously he's a prolific goal scorer and that. And yeah, I'd certainly take him at Manchester United because Harry Kane is obviously well Premier League proven and he would assure us goals. Now, obviously, you know the news on Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. There's a chance that Man United will sign Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer window. Borussia Dortmund are willing to sell him. Now, it recently said that Borussia Dortmund confirmed that they've got a gentleman's agreement with Sancho over a possible transfer. And it says recently that Borussia Dortmund have lowered their asking price for Sancho. They want from between 74 to 78 million pound. Says we're confident that we can get Jadon Sancho on the cheap, and we've spoke with Jadon Sancho's representatives over the potential move. Borussia Dortmund admitted earlier on this season that they'll sell Sancho for the right price, and Dortmund's CEO came out and revealed that the club will discuss exceptional offers for the winner. Earlier on this season, it said that we was preparing a £50 million bid for Sancho because we believed we could get him for a cut price deal. Before that, it said we paused our transfer pursuit of Sancho due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. Chelsea have recently entered the race for Sancho and Liverpool have been in for him. If Liverpool decide to sell Mohamed Salah, then Liverpool probably look to sign him as a replacement. Last summer, Sancho was our number one priority target. Sancho to Man United last summer was extremely close, wasn't it? Because don't forget, he said the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and a contract had been agreed. But the main reason we didn't get him is because we was reluctant to meet Dortmund's 108 million valuation, was only willing to pay so much up front. Dortmund made it clear to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. And Fabrizio Romano, he's spoken a lot about the Sancho saga, and so too has Bild's Christian Falk. I'd love Sancho to come to Manchester United because I'm pretty convinced that he would exceed expectations in the Premier League. He'd dramatically improve us. He'd create good chances, and I presume he would score goals for us. And he'll replicate what he's done at Dortmund, because he's been very consistent in a lot of games at Dortmund, but he's enjoyed some bad periods here and there. This has been Sancho's 4th season at Dortmund. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017, and he's got a contract with Dortmund until 2023. Now, obviously, you know the news regarding Pau Torres from Villarreal. Now, the last time I read up, it says that Man United are aiming to complete the signing of Pau Torres before the European Championship begins. It says Man United have been in advanced talks to sign Torres. Pau Torres has a release clause of around 43.4 million. Villarreal want us to meet his release clause, but his release clause increases to just over 56 million in the final 15 days of the summer transfer window. He said earlier on this season that Pau Torres was very interested in coming to Man United, and Real Madrid's president Florentino Perez was infuriated with Man United for entering the race, because at one point Real Madrid were emerged as the favourites to get him. Do you think Pau Torres would go well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line? He's been at Villarreal a very long time. You know, came up their youth academy, been in their senior squad for quite a while. Got a contract with Villarreal until 2024. He also had a loan spell with Malaga. Being quite a lot of centre-halves on our agenda, it said a few weeks ago that Ollie had drawn up a 6-man centre-back shortlist. But we may not get a centre-half now anyway, because not so long ago, Eric Bailly signed a new contract with Man United until 2024. There is an option to extend for a further year. And obviously Man United are in search for a second-choice goalkeeper, obviously to replace De Gea. He recently said that we are considering a move to re-sign Sam Johnstone. Says West Brom will demand £20 million if they are relegated. Sam Johnstone's current contract at West Brom expires next year. Man United have a sell-on clause of around 15% after selling him to West Brom for £6 million back in 2018. Sam Johnstone was with us for 9 years. You know, don't forget he came through our academy. We've also been looking at Tom Heaton from Aston Villa. You know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is aware of how big the summer transfer window is going to be for himself and Manchester United in general. The summer transfer window is going to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. And in the summer transfer window, I'm expecting us to do good business. I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings, and I've already identified the areas in the squad where we need to strengthen up. Said earlier on this season that Man United are expected to spend big in the summer transfer window, but Solskjaer did mention that he wants to keep transfer dealings quiet. Solskjaer did warn earlier on this season that we may not do business as usual due to the pandemic, but he said he's interested in bringing in players that'll be a perfect fit for the club. Can assure Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window, and of course he'll be Man United manager next season, because it got made clear earlier on this season he will not be sacked even if we fail to win the Europa League. But I've already said that Solskjaer does deserve at least another season at Man United, because he has made progress in a lot of aspects. This season has been his 2nd full season at the club, and he's been Manchester United manager now over 2 years. Solskjaer's obviously said that he wants good backing. And I'm expecting him to get the backing he deserves because we've got John Murtaugh. He's our director of football. And it was the right decision by the club getting a director of football in, because I did mention that's one of the structural changes that we needed. We've got Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director, and we've also got Matt Judge, and Matt Judge has been part of the club for a long time. Ed Woodward, he said earlier on this season that I believe Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward, and he did release a statement saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. And even when we was enjoying them really bad periods under Solskjaer and he was close to being sacked, Woodward come out several times to show his support for him. Did say towards the end of last year, we'll back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. Obviously, Woodward will stand down at the end of the year, because the other week it got announced that Ed Woodward resigned as Manchester United vice chairman. I presume all United fans were delighted with the news regarding Ed Woodward because we've been critical of him for a long time. Not so long ago, Ed Woodward's home got attacked by masked protesters. Ed Woodward has had a 16-year association with Manchester United. Who will replace Ed Woodward at the club? It's actually said that the Glazers have a 3-man shortlist to replace Ed Woodward, but he did say a few weeks ago that Edwin van der Sar is the favourite to replace Ed Woodward. I've got to say, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is our best manager since Ferguson. I'll stick to what I've said on my recent videos. I don't think he's a long-term manager for Manchester United, but I hope I'm proven wrong. I presume a lot of United fans are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in and they believe that he needs more time at the club. Obviously, a lot of United fans have been demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the club. They've criticised him. Obviously, they've got their reasons behind it. Earlier on this season, it said that he had agreed a new 3-year contract worth 30 million, likely to be 2 years with an option of an extra one. Our only chance of a trophy this season is the Europa League, and our first final is in sight. It's going to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first major final as Man United manager. And it's going to be our 8th European final. Obviously, we do play Roma tonight in the second leg in the semi-final, but we are 6-2 up from the first leg. I can't see Roma pulling it back. Roma have got to win 4-0 to get to the final. Solskjaer knows, though, how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. I think Solskjaer said the other month that winning trophies can be an ego thing. But yeah, we win the Europa League and obviously finish second in the league. I think that will represent a good season for Man United, and that'll give us something to build on going on into next season. We'll definitely finish top 4 in the Premier League this season. So it's good that Champions League football is secure for next season. Like I said, I do have my concerns about Ole, but there's also a lot of positives regarding Ole as well. He's more or less got us to the Europa League final, got us to the FA Cup quarters this season, got us to the EFL Cup semi-final. We've enjoyed very good periods under Ole where we have seen consistency, and we're enjoying a good period at the moment. We are unbeaten in our last 7 games in all competitions. We've got a very good away record in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. We are unbeaten in our last 24 Premier League away games. Solskjaer has made good signings as Manchester United manager. He has spent almost £300 million. So far, he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows at the club. Obviously, Solskjaer's brought in Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. Also brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odi Nagalo in on loan. Nagalo left the club in January. Also brought Donny van der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Mad Diallo Traore and Facundo Palestri. We loaned Facundo Palestri out in January. I like the way Ollie has promoted the youth, because he's recommended more young players in and he's given the young players their opportunities. Solskjaer's got rid of a lot of the deadwood as well since he's come in. Last season, his first full season, did well, got us to 3 semi-finals, got us a 3rd place finish and got us qualification for the Champions League. Solskjaer's beaten quite a few big name managers as well as Man United manager. And we are sitting 2nd in the Premier League. At one point he got us top of the Premier League, so they are the positives regarding Ole. Reflecting how long he's been at the club, he has gained some managerial experience. He hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, but that doesn't mean he can't succeed as Man United manager. But whether Solskjaer succeeds as Man United manager or not, we'll still always love him, because at the end of the day, he is a club legend. He enjoyed 11 years as a player for Man United. He flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. And Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. We appointed Solskjaer in December 2018 to replace Mourinho, and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. We gave him the job permanently a couple of years ago, reflecting how well he did as the interim manager, in that 3-month period. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. We sacked 3 managers since Ferguson, and we're not even really known as a sacking football club. The 3 managers we sacked was David Moyes, sacked him after 10 months, sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. We haven't only had different managers with different philosophies, overpaid for players in recent years. In general, our recruitment has been very poor for a long time. And I did mention, didn't I, that the board has been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time. We spent over £1 billion since Ferguson. And we've brought around 37 players in, haven't we, since Ferguson retired. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. That's, of course, 8 years ago now. A lot of United fans are very sceptical that we'll win a title under Ole. Solskjaer is inheriting players from other managerial eras. Quite a few players are going to leave Manchester United in the summer transfer window. Good chance De Gea's going to leave. I think we should offload Romero, offload Jones. I think we could offload Tuanzebe because he doesn't get in our 11. I think we'll be looking to get rid of Diego Dalot permanently. He's out on loan with Milan at the moment. Tellez, good chance we'll offload him because he's played nowhere near as much as I expected. Matic, I think there's a good chance we'll offload him. Juan Mata, good chance we'll offload him. And a lot of United fans are saying that we need to offload Anthony Martial. So the players that we do sell in the summer transfer window will generate money and it will help us with our rebuilding process. But a lot of players will stay at Man United in the summer transfer window, and I reckon there's quite a few players that have got long-term futures at the club. So alright guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.